What is up, everyone? I am Ronnie, and this is episode 1 of Pimp My Design. Let's go. Hello, and welcome back to the channel, guys. This is a super exciting moment for me because I'm always excited when I start a new series on the channel. So this one is going to be about reviewing your designs, receiving designs from the community, and showing how we can pimp them or how we can improve them. So I use the term Pimp My Design because of an old show that used to play on MTV called Pimp My Ride with Exhibit, the rapper. I don't know if you remember this show, but people came to this crew of technicians and celebrities with their car, and then they will leave it there for a few days, and then these guys will pimp the car, make it more exuberant, just more cool, and then they would invite the owner of the car to come back and discover their new pimped car, which was way cooler. So want to try this concept with Canva and with you guys' designs here. So we have posted this post on our YouTube channel on the community tab announcing Pimp My Design, send us your designs, and Ronnie will advise on how to improve it. So the way you submitted your design, it was a little bit confusing in the beginning, so we will make sure this is way clearer. You will find a link in the description to a Google form that you can use to submit your design for the next episode. So I will be doing this regularly, so hopefully you can submit your design, and at some point I will review it on the channel. All right, now that being said, let's jump over to Canva and discover the first design for this week. All right, so here we are on the Canva editor, and today I have decided to review one design. I'm going to do one, maybe two designs per episode, but today is going to be one. And this is a design submitted by Ali. So Ali submitted this and he mentioned that it was an Instagram post. So I renamed this Pimp My Design Instagram post Ali, and let's jump into it and see how Ali made his design and see what we could do to improve this design to make it a little bit more impactful. Okay, so I can see from the get-go that there is a lot of information on the design. There is a lot going on here, and I'm trying to understand, trying to read. So I see why we feel what we feel. Is it okay to feel that way with this kind of photo visual with a woman with all kinds of different emotions going on? Then I see the photo of a person here whom I believe is a doctor or maybe a specialist. Understanding emotions, webinar, live interactive session, inner peace, well-being center, a path to peace, energy, and happiness. Free session worth 2,000 rupees, sessions in Hindi language, join us on Google Meet, and the date, the time, some social media handles, register now. Okay, so this is, if I'm correct, post that is promoting a free webinar organized by this person here called Monica Pawan, who is a counselor and life coach. Okay, so this is my understanding of Ali's post. So we are going to try to work with this. I have highlighted 3 different design principles, design fundamentals that are going to be what we work on for this design. And the 3 principles that I really believe could improve this design if we respect them, if we apply them to the design are: number 1, negative space. Okay, we need to add some negative space to this design, some white space, aka space that is not utilized by any of the elements on this design. We need to create more free space in this design because it is too crowded. There is very little white space in here, and this gives me an impression of feeling overwhelmed. There is too much information, especially if this is going to go on Instagram. Let's always remember why we are designing. This is super important because design at the end of the day is a tool. Okay, so it's a tool that we use to promote a message, or it's a tool to reach a specific goal that we have. Here, the goal with this design is to get people to register to Monica's free webinar. So let's not forget about this goal ever while modifying this design, because this is what we are trying to accomplish. Okay, so knowing your goal, very important. The platform. Instagram. Instagram is a highly visual platform, so there is way too much text in here. we need to make this post more visual and less text heavy. So that is my first design principle, creating more negative space. The second design principle that I believe is super important here is hierarchy. Okay, hierarchy will help me understand, or help the viewer understand, what they have to read first, second, and third. Where should my eyes focus when I have a peek at this design, when I glance at this design? So for now, it's very difficult. I would tend to say it is this visual right here, but there is some red text, so this is catching my attention as well. But it is not obvious where I should focus first, second, and third, because hierarchy has not been properly applied to this design. So we are going to be working on hierarchy second. And then third, consistency. Consistency means having some consistent element in the design in terms of fonts, in terms of colors, in terms of shapes, and maybe even layout, that will help me find some harmony in the design. So there are too many different styles of things going on. And first, I would start with the fonts, for example. So I can count Caveat, so that's one font. There is another one here, Glacier Indifference, so that's 2 fonts. There is another one here, Peace Sans, so that's 3 fonts. I would like to reduce this to maybe 2 fonts maximum in the design. And then colors, shape. I can see this shape, for example, as a very different color to the rest of the other colors. Otherwise, I think if I click on the color button right here, this is the document colors. So I can see already there's 2 different kinds of colors, I would say. So some dark and some light neutral tones. And then we have some warmer colors like this orange, red, this other orange. So it's pretty consistent already, but there's still some, I would say, inconsistencies in the design. So let's go. Let's pimp this design. I'm going to reproduce this from scratch. So I will be adding a page and I'm going to be working from here. So the first thing I'm going to do is to try to understand what is the most important message of all of what's on this Instagram post. So I would say it is the title. So I'm going to grab this first and I'm going to paste the title here. Understanding emotions. Okay, so this is the title. I'm going to make it bigger because this is my H1, or the first thing I want people to focus on, understanding emotion. Okay, second thing is that it is a webinar. Okay, I want people to register to a webinar, so let's communicate that this is a webinar. So I'm going to paste this second. Webinar. So Ali here in his original post indicated that webinar parenthesis live interactive session. Maybe we don't need the extra information. So I'm gonna delete this for now. Live interactive session. This is pretty much like a definition of a webinar. So I'm going to delete this for now. Let's just keep webinar. Okay, so understanding emotion, webinar. Next, I have this big visual here. So let's copy this. I'm going to paste this here. Okay, so the problem with this is that it's taking a lot of space. Okay, so I need to find a way to reduce the space that this element is taking, because I need that space, especially here at the bottom, to write more information, to ubicate the rest of the elements that I need to position on this design. But I do like the photo. Let's zoom in a little bit. So I'm on 56. The photo is actually of high quality because when I zoom in, it's still quite clear. What I can do as well, I can use a little I button here in Canva to have some extra information about this photo. Maybe he found it in the library and I can find a similar photo, maybe that is less square, but it says user uploaded content. So this content has been uploaded by another user. So basically Ali uploaded this photo to Canva and used that. So I cannot really find this photo in Canva and rework it. So one thing I could do is to search in the elements for emotions. Probably this is something, and then I will filter by photos. So I just want to see photos and I can see straight away like some similar things, but they're still square. So this is not really what I'm looking for. We could go for something like this, but then we focus on only one emotion. I think the beauty of this visual right here is that it has different emotions. Hence the sentences here, why we feel what we feel, is it okay to feel that way? So I think I want to keep and remain kind of true to the original meaning of this visual, which is we have and we are feeling different emotions at different times of the day, different moments of our lives. We feel a bunch of emotions. So I want to keep this meaning that the visual conveys. So I'm not ready to switch to only one photo like this one. So let's quickly scroll down here and see if we can find something maybe that could portray this. But okay, you know what? I'm going to work with this original visual. So I think it is important also to work with what we have. So I'm going to zoom back to 56. Let's see. So my post fits my screen nicely. Okay. 52, it's good. All right, so one way I could do what I'm trying to do is to simply reduce the size of this. So let me zoom in a little bit more. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep 2 rows of this photo collage like so, and I'm going to duplicate it. So Control C, Control V. So this looks okay, but I can see I still have a little bit of the photo here on top, so I need to crop it slightly more. For this, it needs to be quite precise, so I'm zooming in even more. Okay, let's try again. So for this, I keep zooming in. I want to keep a little bit of the cream color around it, but not see the photo on top of it. Okay, I'm going to keep it like this. So now zooming back out. What I don't want is to have the same photo, like these are exactly the same now. So what I don't want is this. So I want the other photos. Okay, so just going to select the part of my photo which is interesting to me, which is now this one. So now the trick here is to make sure that the borders are correct. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in. I want this to be perfectly aligned. Okay, so something like that. Okay, need a bit more space, like so. This is looking good. There's still a little bit of photo here that we can see at the bottom, so I need to get rid of that. All right, so this is what I have. I had to play around a little bit, try to match these borders. This was not an easy task, but I'm pretty happy with the result. And I'm not going to spend much more time on this. I think nobody will really notice the difference. So now what I'm going to do is to group these 2 elements. You can see I have 2 different photos. So let's select them both and group. And I'm going to stretch this a bit more, a bit bigger to have these photos, and I just want to showcase different photos that I believe are interesting. So these are fine. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the middle of my design, and this will separate the upper section from the lower section, which I'm pretty happy with. Okay, next I want to continue my selection of the most important elements here. So next is obviously the photo of Miss Monica. So I'm gonna grab this. Okay, so I can see 2 different things going on. We have a frame, kind of this coffee color frame, and then we have the photo of Monica. So first I'm going to copy the frame. I'm gonna bring it here. Okay, so this is my frame. Not sure if I will keep it for now, but I also need the photo. All right, so I'm going to copy the photo here as well, just moving the frame back to the original design because I want to show you a before and after. Okay, so I have my photo, I have the frame. I don't think I want to keep the photo in that particular frame, so I'm going to delete this. Instead, I'm going to go back to my elements and search for a frame, because we do have some photo frames that will work exactly like the frame, just that my photo is going to be inserted in the frame. So I'm going to use this photo right here in order to keep kind of the same spirit of the original post, to have a frame around Monica's photo. Okay, so I'm going to do this, and I'm going to use the same red. So to apply more consistency, just using the same color. So right now, this is pretty minimal. I have 2 colors or 3 with my background, which is cream, but I'm keeping everything kind of tighter, right? So next, I'm going to copy this text box right here. Because who is this person here at the bottom? So we need to know. This is Monica, okay? So Monica Pawan. So what I want to do, I'm going to duplicate this text box as well, because there are 2 information that I want to use separately. First, I want to use Monica's name. So I don't need the first part, which is about her title. Just want to keep her name. Okay, and because this is important information to me, I'm gonna make it way bigger. So Monica Pawan, like so. And then let's work on the second one here, simply deleting what I don't need. All right, I'm keeping counselor and life coach, like so. This is pretty good. And I'm going to stretch this, make it one line. I don't need this to be spread over 2 lines. So she's a counselor and life coach. And also something else I'm going to do is to align everything, to justify everything to the left. This one and this one. Okay, so Monica Pawan, counselor and life coach. All right, so I have this information. What else? I have this text box here that I'm going to paste like so. So Monica Pawan is running her initiative Inner Peace Wellbeing Center to deliver counseling and workshop related to emotional well-being. Okay, so this is a little bit repetitive because she's running the Inner Peace Wellbeing Center, and then she delivers counseling and workshop related to emotional well-being. I'm going to delete the second part. So Monica Pawan, I don't need to repeat her name, is running her initiative. Okay. So if she's running the initiative, I might presume that she's the director of the Inner Peace Wellbeing Center. I'm making an assumption here, but if she's running the initiative, she might be. If she's not the director, and maybe we can change the title in this description, I just want to give some indication who is this Monica Pawan person. So she's the director of the Inner Peace Wellbeing Center. Okay, I'm gonna keep this information. So also it was in italic. I'm gonna get rid of the italic, and I'm just going to keep the normal font like so and put this here as well. So she's the director of the Inner Peace Wellbeing Center. Okay, so I have Monica Pawan in Peace Sans, counselor and life coach Peace Sans, and I have this other font in Open Sans. So for now, I only have Peace Sans in all of this. And here in his original design, Ali was using other fonts, if I remember correctly. So yeah, Glacier Indifference. So let's see how this piece of information would look in Glacier Indifference. It looks like this. It's a little bit small, so maybe I can add a bit more size to this, and this one as well. So again, I'm going to try to respect the hierarchy here. Let's go for 20 and see how it looks like. Monica Pawan. So Monica Pawan is, of course, like the most important information. I feel like 26 is a good size. So maybe I need to reduce this one a little bit. I would love this to fit into one single line. So let's reduce it until it does to 18. Okay, and then this now. Maybe this can fit into 3 lines, like so. And I'm going to reduce this to maybe 15. Okay, now I have all of this information. It is pretty neat. I'm going to leave it here for now. And I'm going to be continuing to progressively bring all the information. So I have a lot of things already. So what I do miss is this information right here in the box. So let's copy all of this and bring it to our design. Okay, I'm gonna start by deleting some stuff like the box. Remember I told you I wanted to reduce the number of colors. So this one has 3 colors that are not yet in my design. So I'm simply going to get rid of that. Next, I'm going to get rid of these lines right here. And actually, I'm going to keep one of these lines. I'm going to put it here for now and come back to this later. And also there's this Google Meet logo here. See this? I'm gonna get rid of that as well. So by deleting the box, I have successfully reduced the number of colors from 6, I believe, with the 3 colors in the box to 3. So this is pretty good. This helps me kind of keep things minimal. So now let's read all this information right here. Let's select what we want to keep. So it is a free webinar. So why not add this information right here? Free webinar. I think this is important. It's worth 2,000 rupees. I think we can get rid of this information. It is a free webinar. That's what is important to me. If it's worth 2,000 rupees, maybe Monica can mention that usually she charges 2,000 rupees in the introduction of her webinar. But for now, for this promotional post, I don't think it is very necessary to keep that information. Session is in Hindi language. So this is important. So I will keep this here, Hindi language. I just dropped the language. The session is in Hindi. I believe people in India will understand that we are referring to the language. Join us on Google Meet. So just get rid of the Google Meet. I don't think I need that information. So join us on, and then I have the date. Okay. And the date, I don't need the word that says date nor time. can just keep the actual date and time. I will justify again to the left, and this information is important, so I'll make sure it's bigger, okay? Because this is the date and time of my webinar. So join us on a session in Hindi. Okay, so join us for a session, maybe. So join us, okay, I'll get rid of the on, and here, join us for a session in Hindi. Okay, and all of this, I will justify to the right as well. Join us for a session in Hindi. I'll make this text box smaller here. Join us for a session in Hindi. Okay, and the date of the session is here. Okay, so I have this information here now. I just use Canva's safe zone to justify everything, to align everything. I'm pretty happy about this. So join us for a session in Hindi, 19th of June, 2021, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Okay, I have this information. What else am I missing here? So from this box, I feel like I have pretty much everything. There's this logo right here. So this is kind of a logo with the curved text, the Inner Peace Wellbeing Center. I'm kind of wondering if it is necessary that we add this back to the design, because we do mention Inner Peace Wellbeing Center here. So let's see, because it's pretty big and the curved text factor doesn't allow me to reduce its size very well. Otherwise, this text here in the middle won't be legible. So I'm going to pause on this for now and leave it there. What I want to work on is this line right here. I want to add something to this design. So what if I use this to kind of get the attention away from the fact that my cropping here is not perfect? So I'm going to duplicate this. So Control C, Control V, and just add it here. See how it looks. Okay, this needs a bit more space. That sounds good. I'm going to select both of these like so, and make that bigger. So it goes beyond the edge of the design right here. Okay, so good. What I can do too is to group it. I'm going to group these two elements. I'm going to Control C, Control V, so I can duplicate it and have the same line for here at the bottom of this image. What I will do as well, I will flip this 180 degrees like so. So I'm adding a little bit of randomness to the image. And you see now I'm going to ungroup everything at this stage. Ungroup this group of two pictures, and also ungroup these lines, because I want to group all of this together. So I won't have been able to group everything together knowing that other elements were already grouped. So I had to do this ungroup first and then regroup. Okay, and what I can do, I want to try, is to have some slightly tilted motion going on here. I can zoom a little bit more. And I'm going to select the images that I feel are the most representative of the different emotions I want to talk about during the webinar, something like that. I'm happy with this, really like this actually. So I have created a little bit of a movement in the design by tilting this image slightly. I'm going to optimize a bit more the space that I have here on top, and same with the space that I have here at the bottom. So the last thing I need is this call to action, register now. Okay, so register now is my call to action, but it doesn't give me any means of registering. It doesn't tell me what to do to register now. So I'm going to copy this anyway, all right, and put it here at the same spot, the bottom of my screen, which is fine. But instead of saying register now, I want to let the users and let the viewer know where to register. So register now via link in bio, since we are on Instagram. Okay, and the last thing is that I want to add a little element here, like an arrow. I'm gonna search for an arrow. I'm gonna sort by graphics, and I like something short and simple, maybe something like this. I'm going to use my red color. Okay, like so. And I'm going to flip this vertically, something like that. Okay, so I want to drive the attention to the call to action. So that's what the arrow is for. It's driving the attention to the call to action. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this. It is way more streamlined. So I have created negative space. I see that I have too much space here compared to the space I have here. So I need to correct this. I have isolated the upper part of the visual with the most important information. So this is what readers will read first. So I can even emphasize this a bit more by making it slightly bigger, even like so. Now let's give this design a final round of corrections so we continue to improve on the three things. So first, negative space, second is hierarchy, and third is consistency. Okay, so I think the easiest to improve is simply the consistency here. I have now two fonts, I believe, Puissance for this one and this one. This one is Glacier. This is still Glacier. Puissance, Puissance, Glacier, and Glacier. I'm gonna try to use Glacier Indifference for the free webinar part and see how it looks. Free webinar. Okay, this is not too bad, but I see this font here seems to pop more. So why is this? So this is using this second brown color here, and this one is using the first one. So I'm gonna make sure everything is using this second brown color right here. This will add some more consistency, like so. I'm gonna keep this bolded, but let's just make sure everything is using my dark brown color. So I'm gonna reduce the text box here, position, center. This will bring it back to the center. And now I can select my rectangle here, my colored rectangle. And you see it is the lighter brown. I'm gonna make this the darker brown. Okay, so now this is what I have. All I have to do now is to fix this space problem here. Okay, so I'm going to select all of this, bring it closer to the frame like so, or I could move the frame knowing that it was in the middle, could move it slightly. So people probably won't see that it is now not in the center anymore because it is subtle. But yeah, so this is what I have for this design. So Understanding Emotion free webinar. Join us for a session in Hindi, 19th of June 2021. The time, Monica Pawan, counselor and life coach, director of the Inner Peace Wellbeing Center. So there's one more piece of information I believe could be important is this WhatsApp number here. I don't think I want to keep the Instagram handle because this is probably going to be shared on her Instagram account anyways. So I don't think it is necessary to have your handle on a post posted on your account. So let me see that. I need to grab this WhatsApp number here and the WhatsApp icon. So both of these, Control C, I'm going to Control V here. Okay, but I want to paste it in this call to action box. And for that, I will need them to be the cream color. Okay, so how does that look? I'm going to group this so I can move it around, but I feel it's in the right place. I'm gonna drop the now, register via link in bio. So it is more centered. Bring my arrow here. Register via link in bio. Okay, I'm good with this. I'm gonna stop messing around with this design. This is how it looks. So this is the original version. We pimped this design to get to this result by applying 3 of the design fundamentals. Number 1 was to create negative space. I have created negative space. You see here, the design feels very crowded. So I got rid of some elements that were not completely essential to the design. And I really narrow it down and I stripped all of the information that was not completely necessary for understanding the message of our post, which is, I want you to register for my free webinar. So without losing this goal, I got rid of everything which was not necessary. Okay, so that's one thing. Second thing I did is to add some hierarchy. So I isolated this section right here by putting it on top of the visual. And then there is the lower section with the information about the webinar. So I segmented the information in such a way by playing with the layout, by playing with the font size and the font colors. So that is creating hierarchy. So I know what to read first, second here, and third, the call to action with the arrow kind of helping us understand this is the last thing you need to do. And then finally, I created some consistency by getting rid of one font, Open Sans, and kept 2 fonts only in this design, but also streamlining in the color palette selection. So we kept only 3 colors in this design, the red, the dark brown and the cream color of the background. So this is it. This was Pimp My Design number 1. I will have a link in the description. By all means, leave us your design. So for this, you will have to use this share button, and then you will go to share a link to use as a template. Okay, so you need to create a template, and then you will copy the link to your template and paste that in the Google form. So that's how I can review your design without messing the original design. Thank you for watching until the end. I hope you enjoyed this Pimp My Design episode number 1. If you did, leave us a like. Always happy to have a like on our videos. It helps with the visibility. And subscribe to the channel for more good content about Canva. I will see you in the next video.